Colson from Texas is calling in, wants to talk to us. Colson, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing okay, Dan. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Colson.
Yeah, so basically, I just wanted to talk about the topic you guys were talking about earlier, about sort of your family and how to deal with, being an atheist around your family. And for me, it's kind of a weird situation. It's weird for everyone, right? But my mom is the only one who knows, as far as I know, that I'm an atheist. And I have this, I don't know, I have this burning desire to tell everyone at all times that I don't want anyone to think that I'm religious when I'm not. But at the same time, when I told my mom, one of the first things she said was, "Don't tell Nana," and I understood that very well. How could I do that to Nana? How could I break her heart?
Yeah.
But so now it's this situation where I feel like my mom and I are teaming up to lie to my family, and it's a weird dynamic. And
Colson, that's so funny. I literally had the same conversation. My mother did the exact same thing. Said I couldn't talk about it with grandma and grandpa. Wasn't a thing. Isn't that interesting?
How could we? I mean, it would just break her heart,
Right. It's like your identity somehow is harmful to another person because you're their progeny and they're supposed to be proud of you and be able to talk about you. Like my grandma loves, well, she just passed away recently, but I mean, she always bragged about me to her friends. It seemed like she was always talking about me, according to my mom. And this is one side that couldn't be talked about because it would bring shame to the family, which is such an interesting thing. And it what a sociological reason to keep believing, right? What an absolute, a psychological threat to someone's belief is, oh, well, you're going to disappoint literally everybody you know if you have a difference of opinion. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But I can definitely relate. And Erin can relate too, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm just I'm feeling for you. That is tough. And it's really tough knowing that you want to find, people that are safe to talk to, but you inadvertently pull them into this thing. Like you said, you feel like you're kind of working together to try to keep this under wraps now. And again, that's sociological thing. I don't know how to change it either. But yeah, when you start to tell people that you have had such a huge shift in your belief system, the people that you tell are almost forced to keep a secret for you, and that's so weird.
Yeah. Sorry, I feel like I'm talking a lot here, but I got this piercing maybe 2 months ago, now 3 months ago. I know it was a little bit back. And when my mother saw it, she hated it. And back when my grandmother was alive, my mother was like, "Oh, well, you can't let your grandparents see that." That's like one of those things. Like, what? I made this decision for myself. This is just me. I really like it, but it's literally the same level, right? Where it's just oh, this ideological tenet that you hold, or this belief about reality that you hold, you can't share that in the same way you can't share this this piercing, because they're both taboos. They're just both things that can't be shared. You have to pretend don't exist. And how much of human society has existed on doing that, just creating those taboos and upholding them.
And how much of it is religious differences, or just the fact that each generation that thinks that the young ones are just doing all these awful things.
Yeah.
That's that. But I know it's more than that. I know that it's more when you have somebody who genuinely thinks that you're going to suffer.
Yeah.
Especially if they believe in any kind of afterlife that's
but
any torment that. It's horrifying to think about telling somebody that too, because even though you don't believe it anymore, knowing that you're going to put them through psychological pain, that's the tough part. And I think that's part of the reason why it took me so long, or that's part of what kept me keeping that kind of secret for so long, was that I knew that that was what their religion has taught them to think of me. As soon as they hear those words, as soon as they find out, they're gonna have pain inflicted on them. And it's so hard.
Yeah. At that point, it ultimately reveals that Christianity isn't about the logical conclusions of one's faith. It's a performance. It becomes a social performance that you have to keep up with these norms in order to be in good graces, not of God, but of your family and of the people you care about. Isn't that interesting? Like, you know, I'm glad I kept this piercing in and other people see it, because I found that it was an expression of myself and a representation of me. And ultimately it became something that I was proud of. And I think people should do the same thing with their non-belief, that they should be proud to be who they are, and that they shouldn't feel like that they have to be closeted. Obviously, we're probably, I mean, the three of us, at least, probably, I've all had to do the performances sometimes, you know, the song and dance of maybe going to church.
But ultimately, stuff, like, I feel like, Dan, you took that, like your piercing, and it is an example of how you are carving out that space for yourself to be who you are, and to, you know, do the thing that is just for you and has nothing to do with other people are thinking about, or how they're going to see the situation. And like for some people, they can take big chunks at a time. They can carve out a big space for themselves quickly. Other people, it's small things. And for some people, it's just having one person that knows, you know, where you're at. But I think just the kind of working on that and taking into account who it is that's going to be hearing the information. But there's no easy way to do it. I have not figured anything out.
Individuality has never been a value of Christianity. Almost never ever, except maybe in the Christian mystic tradition. But outside of that, you know, you're called to be a sheep, literally called to be a sheep, right? Like you're supposed to follow. You're and piercings and tattoos and other kinds of stuff. That's signs of individuality. That's signs of not being of, you know, the herd and of everybody else. And that's a threat. That's a threat to the order, to like the hierarchy that the religion is supposed to bring. And because it does come down to control at some point at the end of the day, right? Which is scary and sad to think about. And in today's terms, it means going to Christmas, you know, church service when you don't want to. Sometimes for some people, sometimes it means life or death situations. But I'm glad that, you know, I think Gen Z, you know, gets into a lot of stuff that I don't believe in. They're real big on astrology and all kinds of stuff right now. But I will say they are more open to other people's expressions of stuff. I think that's one generational shift that we are seeing. And hopefully these kinds of things of self-expression won't be as much of a problem in coming years. And maybe we just have to grit our teeth and bear it out so that the next generation has, you know, a better time than we do. I don't know. That gives me solace, at least. But Colson, I'm in the same boat as you. I don't know. It's hard.
I think this year I'll just commit to not saying any prayers if I'm asked to bless the food.
Yeah.
Maybe one year I'll, you know, wear my AXP T-shirt to the to dinner, my Truth Wanted T-shirt. But
hell yeah,
I think I'll just keep not telling Nana.
I vote for the Truth Wanted T-shirt.
Yeah, I mean you do you, boo boo.
Of course.
You know that's what it is. Yeah. But I will say, anybody that says no, I'm actually not going to respect this tradition because it's a violation of my self-expression. I have respect for that position as well. I've done that before. Absolutely. But I've also done the performance. Like it's kind of been a mix for me. So I don't know what's best, but I do think everybody has a right to do their own thing, right? So there you go. Colson, do you have anything else you want to ask before we wrap up the last live show of the year?
No, that's it. Thanks for taking my call.
All right. Well, thank you, Colson. And thank you to everybody who watches Truth Wanted.